Hey guys, welcome back. We're going to talk about the very first inserts in cards that were serial numbered. Well, inserts themselves go way back, and some would even argue that the very first baseball cards were in fact inserts into like packs of tobacco, cigarettes, whatever. So we're not going to talk about the very first inserts because that's a long debate there. But what was the very first serial numbered card? Well, that is credited to being the Donruss Elite Series coming around in '91. Donruss decided that they were going to put some inserts into packs that were serial numbered. There was in the first series 1 and 2, they had 9 different cards. They were serial numbered. There's some featuring some stars at the time, serial numbered to 10,000. Well, if you think about it, that's a lot of cards, but this is the junk wax era, and they were just way overproduced. There's to this day you can get a box of 91 Donruss for well under $10. I guess $5 if you make a deal or buy several at a time. So they're super cheap still. I mean, these cards that are really old, but they did spark some interest in chasing these Donruss Elite cards. I remember looking through the Beckett when I was young, buying these cards, seeing Donruss Elite, and I'm like, I don't even know what that is because I never seen those cards before. I just assumed you had to like special order it or buy it in some kind of a set. I didn't know what they were. So I did kind of come into the game late there trying to get these cards, and I got a lot of interest in them. They're really cool to collect, and they are well, some of them are worth quite a bit. Like the first series came out in '91. They were featuring the big stars at the time, and some of them are worth like between $50 and $80 now. They also, I'll quickly mention, they also had the Nolan Ryan Legend drawing where it was like his drawing, and they also had the Ryan Sandberg autograph from that same set, but those were not numbered. The 1 through 8s were numbered, and on the back, and they're at a 10,000. They're so hard to find. There's these stories that because of the foil on the cards, here's a Matt Williams from that set. He's one of the cheaper ones. Um, but because of the foil on there, that you're able to use a metal detector and actually find that card in like a box. You can take like a metal detector and another story says that the packs that they were wrapped in, like the individual wax packs, were like a slightly different color, like they were like a little bit lighter. So you could actually identify them by looking at the packs. And then I heard another story that the actual cases, not the boxes, but the actual cases, people would know how they were collated, and you can go by serial number, and be like, okay, every eighth case or whatever, would have one of these cards in there. So there's a story that out of every 55 boxes of 36 count cards packs, you could get one of these cards, but that may be far more difficult than that if in fact people have broken the code on how to find them. So anyway, they're super hard to find. People are still searching for them. I do occasionally try to search for them too, but then 92 they picked up where they left off. They made the next 9 numbering 9 through 18. I got a Wade Boggs here, really shiny border. So they're kind of old-fashioned looking cards, but they're kind of cool too. I mean, you can imagine they really stand out from the rest of the set there. As the years progressed, they kept the same cycle where they would come out with 9 more, 9 more. I think they changed the numbers a little bit, but you got my point. They just kind of added on to the numbers. They didn't start over at 1 until they got to 97. So here's some later ones here. And they just kind of have, some different designs to them. I got a Ken Griffey Jr., but it's a later one, so it's not worth that much. It's like a 98, I think. And 95, excuse me. So in 97 and 98, they were the last years that they made them, and they were serial numbered to 2,500. So obviously Donruss's attempt to make a little more rare because, as sales were dropping off and less cards were being manufactured, there was a lot of these elites being put into packs, and they were not that hard to find, and they're not really worth much today. So the 2,500 ones are kind of their attempt to make them rare again, but those still aren't worth that much either. So they actually restarted the numbers that year. I don't know why, just kind of what they did. And then in 98 was the last year they made them. Donruss folded after that, and they came back a few years later. But that was it for the elite sets. These are really cool to find, and they kind of demand a premium now. Beckett's actually pretty accurate on pricing these cards, which to me is kind of surprising because they seem to just kind of go overboard on pricing cards as far as pricing them too high. But they're, most of those prices in the Beckett's are are actually lower than what you had to pay for them to get them on eBay, for instance. So pretty cool. But was that the very first serial numbered set? And I'm going to make the argument that there was not. It was not. There was actually one before that, 1990 Upper Deck. They were kind of new on the scene. It was their second year of cards, making their premium cards. Premium compared to, Topps and Donruss, of course. And they came out with a Baseball Heroes Reggie Jackson series where they put these Reggie Jackson cards into packs, and they had 2,500 of them that were autographed by Mr. October himself, and they were hand serial numbered to 2,500. So you'd have the autograph. I'll put up a picture, and it was autographed and hand numbered to 2,500. So that was actually the first serial number card, but it doesn't really get the credit because it was written by hand. I don't know what the difference is. The Donruss Elites have the numbers written on the back. This is on the bottom of this one here, and it's just with a printer, of course. So it's more official that way. I don't know, but to me, the Upper Deck kind of had a year on Donruss as far as coming out with them. In that same year in Pro Set Football in 1990, they came out with Super Bowl holograms. Those were serial numbered, and I think they were done by hand also. Then in 1991 Pro Set Hockey Stanley Cup holograms, those were numbered by hand. So you got some other ones that did beat Donruss, but Donruss had it on the actual printing the numbers. So that's what gives them the upper hand on being the first ones. Man, this really did revitalize the hobby. I think most people will agree with that. Not single-handedly, but it definitely added to the chase, is the desire to buy cards again when people are trying to get these inserts that were in packs, autographed, subsets, and of course serial number cards. So kind of cool. I mean, it worked on me. I bought a lot of them. So and today, obviously, we're still looking for the serial number cards. I love to get them, and I do keep them separately when I collect them. So that is it, guys. Say a prayer for Poppy. David Ortiz got shot today. He got shot in the back. The bullet came out the front of him. It was in a bar or whatever. And there's stories about what actually happened, whatever. But he is in the hospital, and he is expected to recover well, fully recover, because it didn't hit any major organs. So Big Poppy, we're thinking about you. But guys, don't go anywhere and stick around. We're going to do something kind of fun on the next video. I think you guys will like it. And I hope you guys are still liking and subscribing. And we'll see you next time.